So this is the Sports Roundtable. I'm Gage Abdelmacy, and right across the table from me, I've got Xavier Boaz. We're getting closer and closer to the opening week of NFL football. Recently, we had the NFL draft, so let's get ready to discuss it. X, I know we've been talking about it, and we're going to get into the first round boom and bust. Basically, all you're going to end up doing is just, I'm going to go pick by pick. You're going to tell me whether you think it was a good pick, bad pick, depending on any scenario. Just say boom or bust. Don't need much to it. Let's get going. First off, we got Jacksonville, Trayvon Walker.
Boom.
All right, over on to number 2, the Lions, Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan.
That's a boom.
All right, over to number 3, we're going to go back to the Jaguars division with the Texans, Derek Stingley.
Gonna have to go with a boom with that one.
All right, over to number 4, out of Cincinnati, New York Jets select Ahmad Gardner.
That's a boom. They need a CB.
All right, over to your New York Giants, Kayvon Thibodeau.
That's a boom. They need the lineman.
All right, over to North Carolina, Ikem Ekwonu.
Definitely a boom.
All right, over to number 7, back to the New York Giants, Evan Neal.
Without a doubt, boom.
All right, over to Atlanta with the number 8 overall pick. They select Drake London.
I'm gonna have to go with a bust here. They don't really need the wide receivers out here.
All righty. Interesting pick, but moving on. Over to number 9, Seattle taking Charles Cross.
That's a boom.
All righty. Over to number 10, back to the Jets. We're going to get Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State.
Yeah, that's a boom.
All right, over to New Orleans, Chris Olave.
That's a boom with the recent outcast that Drew Brees might be coming back.
All righty. Back to Detroit at number 12. They select Jameson Williams.
That's a boom.
All right, now Eagles going to get in on the draft. They're going to go Jordan Davis.
Definitely a boom.
Over to number 14, we got Baltimore selecting Kyle Hamilton.
That's a boom. They're already looking at him to be Rookie of the Year.
Okay, over to number 15, we got Kenyon Green.
That's a boom.
All righty. So there you have it. There's Xavier's boom bust of the first round. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. Do not add either of us on this scenario. We'll probably both be wrong on any scenarios that we have, but let's go up next to our steals of the draft. Me and Xavier have both selected 2 steals of the draft that we think were the best scenario that the teams probably weren't even expecting to have. So, Xavier, we're going to start with one of your booms of the draft. What do you have?
All right, I'm going to have to go with Kyle Hamilton going out to the Ravens. I mean, they're already looking at him to be a projected Rookie of the Year. They're saying that he could have been first pick if a team really wanted to pick him up. So,
alrighty, and then one of my steals of the draft is out of the 3rd round, Tennessee Titans end up selecting Liberty quarterback Malik Willis. I think the round speaks enough for itself. He was in the top conversation for that best quarterback in the draft class. He ends up going 22nd overall in the 3rd round to the Titans. Yes, he's going to have to sit behind Ryan Tannehill, but Ryan Tannehill, as we know, he ain't the top quarterback. He's got a great offense around him. I think Malik Willis can be a better quarterback sooner than Ryan Tannehill was. So I think that was a great pickup. And with it only being in the 3rd round, it's not a draft pick that you're expecting to be this ready now type of player. Xavier, we're going to go back to you now for your second steal.
All right. This one definitely didn't have to put too much thought into. New York Giants are my guys. So the 337-pound lineman out here, 6'8", have to go with my boy Evan Neal. He's going to be an exceptional add-on to this team. They needed some big boys out there. He was projected to be number 1 overall, but I guess they wanted to keep him in the draft a little bit longer and sent him the 7th pick by the Giants, 1st round.
Alrighty, and then as you were saying with your teams, I'm going to go to one of my teams that I can't deny. And this isn't going to be the NFL. I'm going to go to college. One of the top teams I love to watch day in and day out. They might get blown out by their rivals every single time, but this year was a different year. This year they almost made the college football playoffs, but they missed it. Just barely. I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker III out of Michigan State, going in the second round to Seattle. Seattle's had some problems with the running back core. Yeah, they've got Chris Carson, but he takes up too many of the snaps. He gets injured quite early in the season a lot of the times, and he's out for a little bit.
Good call on that.
They had their backup was Rashad Penny if he's not gone already. You take Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker was one of the most unknown running backs before this most recent college football season. He transfers over to Michigan State. His junior year at Michigan State, puts on a show. He was in the Heisman voting for a while. Didn't end up being one of the finalists, but he was still in the voting. He was a guy that at first was undrafted, then was up into the first round. He was expected to be the first running back taken and in the mid to low first round. He ends up slipping to that early second, and Seattle needs running backs. That's besides quarterbacks now, they need running backs. They got their running back. I think they're set on their core now. They just need to get a good quarterback. I think that offense is ready to do some work under Pete Carroll. Now, Xavier, I'm going to leave this off for you. What do we think? What do you think we got next?
I think we're going winners and losers of the draft.
You are correct. So we talked a little bit before this podcast. We agreed that at first we were going to have both of us go back and forth, but then we decided, since you had your little moment of having to go player by player boom bust without my idea, we thought maybe I should just take this one since we both agreed I knew a little bit more about this draft coming into this one moment.
Definitely. Let's see what the master thinks.
All right. So going straight off the bat, we're going to go to the boom. Yeah, they had the first overall pick. They could have taken anybody. I'm going to take Jacksonville under the boom scenario. And I'm going to take them under it. And I'm saying boom because I'm not saying they just won. I'm saying they won by a mile. They had only a first overall pick. Yeah, you expect them to take somebody like Aiden Hutchinson. I said it multiple times. That GM, Falk, does not think how a traditional general manager thinks. He looks at potential. He doesn't look at your college career and go, well, you had a good college career, I'm going to select you. He goes with the highest potential. We saw it with Josh Allen. Look how Josh Allen panned out over in Jacksonville. Trayvon Walker is hands down going to make an impact day one. And that's just the first overall pick. They then come back, trade with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and select Devin Lloyd out of Utah. Unfortunately, you can't select number 0 in the NFL, but number 0 would have looked really, really, really crisp in that teal and black. I've said it once, I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. I, hands down, unarguably believe Saxonville is back. And they are back in the best way possible. Of course, with the highs come the lows. So I'm going to go to one of my losers of the draft. We're just going to get the obvious one out of the way here. A lot of people made fun of him. The Rams made fun of him. I got to go the New England Patriots as the losers of the draft.
We all knew this one was coming.
What are they doing? People made fun of your wide receiver core being awful for Mac Jones. And you go out there and select, and no offense to Cole Strange. If he becomes the greatest player, I will... that's fine. I can gladly sit there and be like, well, I was wrong. But you go and take an offensive guard while your wide receiver core is hurting, and you expect everything to be fine. The Rams said what? He was a third day style player? Like, they didn't expect to get him till like the third day of the draft. Like, they didn't expect anything. They made fun of New England. I feel like this is an obvious pick. Again, I could greatly be wrong. Who knows? But that looks like an obvious loser.
I mean, hey, look at Tom Brady. He went in not being the best player, and look where he's at now.
that was 6th round. We're talking 1st round. There's a lot of talent. One guy that isn't in here on the 1st round after they lost Stephon Gilmore, they lost J.C. Jackson. I'm looking right at this, and I don't see him. But I know he gets taken later. But I don't see him in this 1st round. I'm talking Booth out of Clemson. But nope, they decide to go with an offensive guard. We'll see. Xavier, what do you think my next? I'm gonna go winner again. I'm gonna go back to a winner. What do you think the winner of the draft is gonna be? And I'll say it right now. When I say winner, I'm talking stuff that happened during the draft.
Man, I don't even know. This draft was absolutely insane.
Well, unfortunately for you Cowboys fans, your division got a little bit tougher. I'm gonna take the Eagles as a winner of the draft. Eagles go out and get, unarguably, once again, the biggest and scariest defensive lineman out of Georgia, the national champions. That defensive line group is now, good luck running on them. I mean, yeah, if the Eagles were in any other division, they'd be set, especially going up against the Titans. You're basically limiting that entire Titans offense now to just Ryan Tannehill throwing the ball. So yeah, you're still gonna have to worry about the pass, because that entire division is pass heavy. Washington doesn't like to run the ball, even though they have Antonio Gibson. Don't know why. The Giants, Saquon gets hurt too much, unfortunately, so they don't run it. And then the Cowboys do the Cowboys. You honestly, you can't predict it. 1 second they're gonna run the ball, the next second they're doing a flea flicker on you. It makes no sense.
Yeah, no.
But it works. So Eagles obviously get a stud of a player in Jordan Davis. For a second I blanked on his name. And then of course the trade of the draft, getting A.J. Brown from the Titans. Wide receiver core just got a lot better. Howie Roseman, all of a sudden now Eagles fans are loving Howie Roseman. They don't know how to feel about him. He's probably going to ruin it. Hate to say it, but this is one good thing to look at. Now, you just got to rely on Jalen Hurts. Do not get another quarterback to replace him. Just rely on Jalen Hurts. Simple. Keep it simple. Easily, they are going for wild card, maybe even top of the division, as long as the Cowboys manage to screw up in a couple games.
Going back to Jordan Davis, I mean, teams are still going to have to look out for him when it comes to passing. I mean, big man ran a 4.78 for his 40, so they're going to have to look out for that pass rush.
Absolutely. Now we're going to go... Actually, you know what? We're going to keep it with the last winner, because we got to stay in the same division. Once again, Cowboys fans, I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm going to go with your team, the New York, New Jersey Giants. They get two players that were, before the draft, at some point down the road, were considered the first overall pick. They do not trade during the draft. They do not move at all. And they managed to get two players that were in the top 3 during the draft. The risk that Jacksonville has is a Trayvon Walker drop, like he wasn't up there beforehand. Again, with Kayvon Thibodeau, you run the risk of his personality. But in New York, they've dealt with that. Unfortunately, one example, I hate to say it like this, was OBJ. Yeah. He had a personality to him, but they're used to it. So they can easily afford to deal with Kayvon Thibodeau as long as he performs.
Yeah.
Evan Neal he's one of the best linemen out there. There's a reason he was taken as the second offensive lineman, but he was arguably the best before draft was even, mock drafts were even starting. So right there, you get two huge picks without moving. The reason Cowboys fans aren't liking this is because there's reports that when Jerry Jones showed their draft board, the 2 highest graded players were Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, both taken by their division rival. That's gotta hurt. So we've got our 3 winners, which are Jacksonville, the Giants, and the Eagles. We only have one loser in the Patriots. I'm gonna go with another loser, and this one is gonna shock many. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh Steelers as losers of the draft just because of that first round pick. You had Malik Willis. You had what looked like there being a strong connection just during Malik Willis's pro day. You've got scouts, managers, coaches of your entire franchise loving Malik Willis. You go out and select the guy that was just next door from your practice facility. Yeah, he's good, but why would you hurt your coach? Why would you hurt your coach's feelings when he was all in on Malik Willis? Maybe it's NFL readiness. We've heard that Mac Jones was the most NFL ready guy out of last year's draft, but it was the problem of it. They said that he just didn't have as much of a higher ceiling. Maybe that's the same scenario. Maybe it's Kenny Pickett is the most NFL ready quarterback and that's why they're doing it. But if that's the case, then why did you sign Mitch Trubisky to a contract that makes him look like the mentor of a starter? Doesn't make sense to me. Other than that, I think they did really well. There's been a lot of videos going out about one of the selections and how he reacted to him getting selected by the Steelers. Steelers did amazing. Kenny Pickett, questionable. I'm not going to say worst pick, but questionable. Understandable if he was considered the most NFL-ready quarterback, but it's a little hard to tell. And with that being said, kind of going now to a loser, but I'm going to keep him more at a narrow, just neutral. We were there. We didn't do much, but we were there. We're going to go over to Houston Texans. Houston got some key pieces, but the one thing that everyone thought they needed and traded away was a quarterback.
Definitely.
And when they are relying on Davis Mills, who?
Beyond me.
You had so many quarterbacks. You had Matt Corral. You had Matt Corral, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, who went in like the 5th, 6th round to Washington. There's bets being placed on over-unders of how many games will be played before he goes in to play quarterback. I'm taking the under any day of the week just because he was at first he was like 3rd best quarterback on the draft. So I don't know. They go cornerback. You can't go wrong there. You can't go wrong with Kenyon Green, the guard out of Texas A&M. You can't go wrong with either of those picks. But what are you doing in the quarterback room? The answer is they don't know. Simple as that. They don't know what they're doing with their QB room, and it's going to be an interesting one to see who gets that bottom of the division. I think it'll be the Texans, but Jaguars would surprise. Jaguars, I don't put it past just with that offense. But then again, what do we know? We're just 2 high schoolers stating what we think, while our audience willingly, hopefully, listens to our horrific takes. Once again, I'm Gage of Dalmacy, and next to me, or rather across from me, of the Sports Roundtable is Xavier Boaz. We'll see if we're right. We'll see if we're wrong. I think we're going to be wrong, but who knows? So long.